Hello guys, the intention of this video is try to explain how to configure HDRP from scratch without using any example SN. So for that I'm going to use Unity 2019.4, but the steps that I will show you works in 2020 version, on 2021 version. Are almost the same steps. So first I'm going to create an empty project, some 3D empty project without using any of this example. Okay, we're going to wait a little bit in order to take some second in order to open Unity. And once Unity is open, so I'm going to try to import just a simple lesson, nothing fancy. Okay, just for demonstration. Okay, right now Unity is using the default render engine that comes with Unity, but our intention is try to configure our initial setup of HDRP. For that you will need first to download the HDRP package that you're going to find in Windows Package Manager. Wait a little bit, the Unity refresh the list. And after that you're going to looking for the letter H, high definition RP, that is what right here. Okay. Sometimes they show you different version. Okay, so you pick the version that you're going to use. The steps to initialize HDRP is almost the same no matter the version that you use. I will pick this one and click install. It will take some minutes. The Unity copy those files, actually compile some files, and we're going to be ready in a few minutes. Okay, so after wait some minutes that HDRP compile some files, Unity will finish and Unity will show you this window. Don't worry about all this error or warning. The most important is the color space. HDRP work using linear rendering, so you should use linear color space. Right now, Unity use gamma by default when you open an empty project, and in player you can change the color space in gamma to linear. Alright, that's it. Once it's finished, this is check green and the other no matter right now. So far, right now we're not using HDRP as a render engine. We're using the default one yet. To use the HDRP, the first thing that you need to do is just create a high definition render pipeline asset. Okay. I will not going to explain those values. That probably will be in another video. The intention of this video is just keep it simple. But in order to use, alright, the HDRP as a render engine, you're going to graphics, and the scriptable render pipeline setting, you will assign this file. Once it's done, several steps happen in your SN. It could look dark, but right now we're watching that the meshes that I added are purple. That means that the material is not compatible. I'm going to create, just for demonstration, a simple material. Okay, and assign in all the meshes this material. And now you can see something. I'm going to just make it a little bit dark. So far it's not looking correct. I mean, it's looking dark. The reason is when you set HDRP, Unity use some default HDRP settings. Those settings are fine. I usually doesn't change this default setting. What I do is create my own setting that override those one. To do that, I will create a volume profile, and I need to assign this volume profile into the SN. I will create an empty gain object, volume, and I'm going to add a volume component, and I'm going to assign this volume profile here. So far it's empty. We are not adding any override yet. In order just to fix what is happening right now, well, is what I'm going to do is just fix this exposure. Right now Unity is working using automatic exposure. That is why sometimes you can see that it's look really bright, the background, and really dark in some angles, okay, because there is an auto exposure. But also I want to use my own sky. Right now Unity is using the procedural sky, but I want to use my own. Okay, I usually, when I want to test something, when I try to make some demonstration or doing something, I try to just keep in that using my own HDR image. But to use HDR as a sky, you need to come texture into Keep Map, okay, because it's a special texture. It's not a standard texture, okay? So you usually use a panoramic texture that you can download in any web page where you can download a free HDRP image. Now, to assign this HDRP to my background in the volume profile, I'm going to create visual environment. And right now I will tell to Unity that my visual environment is none. That's the reason that why disappear the procedural one. It's looking strange still, the lighting, because the automatic exposure. I'm going to assign the HDR sky, but right now it's empty, so it's using a default one, the procedural one. I'm going to add a override sky, HDR sky, okay, and I'm going to assign my HDR here. Nice. But still the lighting is looking a little bit weird, considering that we have a directional light just right here, okay. One thing that I tend to set up or override is the exposure. As I mentioned, Unity is using the automatic exposure. So I usually, when test something, or I want to just start a lighting process, I usually tend to use a fixed exposure and changing over the work. I mean, depending of the project that you're working, but I usually tend to use fixed at the beginning. Okay, I will set up 15. Okay, try to simulate a little bit the exposure or of a sunny daylight. But so far or right now you can't see anything, okay. The problem is the exposure of the HDR sky, that is 0. It is too low, okay. So right now I want to set up like 14, okay. You can see it's better, but I want a little bit more, perhaps 16. Yeah, and now the HDR is looking nice, but now our lighting, there is no light from the sun. It's because the directional light has a really low value. I'm going to set up this value. That's it. Okay, now it's looking better. However, still we don't have some initial good setup of HDRP, and the reason is because right now the shadow areas where the light is not hit the mesh is looking really dark, and this area should receive light from the HDR, but it doesn't happen right now. The reason about that is because here in lighting tab, and if you don't see this lighting tab, you can go into Window, General, and Lighting Settings. Okay, you need to assign the profile that Unity is going to use to light, all right, to light this area, these shadow areas. Okay, so I'm going to assign the same profile and tell Unity that I want to use the HDR sky. So now it starts to look much better. Okay, if you want, you can change your lighting, increases a little bit. Okay, and now you have a nice initial setup. Here you have your HDR, you have directional light. Now you can start to add your object, add your map, add anything you want, okay, and have some really good initial setup. Okay, this is initial setup. I mean, this is not advanced one. It's just to initiate your project, initiate your testing. I mean, you use that as a start point. Okay, I hope in future videos explain more deeply different setup of HDR or different settings in the volume profile and in the HDRP settings. Okay, but see you in future videos.